Okay, so day 6 is this, I think. So red, yellow, pink, green, orange, purple. So day 6, yes. So day 6, and I'm going to be working with my very least favourite colour, which is purple. So as per normal, I've gone through all of my supplies and I've pulled out all of my purple colours that I've got, but I've also got a couple, I've got black gesso and obviously white, because being non-colours, they're okay. So I'll quickly run through what I've got paint colour wise. So Dina Wakeley black as well there. So I've got blackberry, eggplant and fuchsia from the Dina Wakeley media range. I've got one called indigo blue from Indigo Blue, part of their Junk and Disorderly range, which is a real deep bluey purple. I've got mulberry bush, which is again a reddish deep purple, and I've got purple rain, which kind of speaks for itself really. Well, you can see the colour there, that's the colour of the paint in the pot. From the Reeves, I've got lavender, but I've also pulled out the pale powder blue. Although it says blue on it, and it looks blue on screen, actually in real life it's more, I would have said, heather than blue. The colour balance on the camera doesn't really show this as being a purple colour, but actually it is a very pale purple. So pen wise, I've got a Faber-Castell big brush. This says Indanthrene blue, but to my eyes there's a bit more purple in there. And we've got purple violet. I've got the smaller ones, crimson, which isn't red, strange name, and we've got lilac, which is a pale lilac. Now, just before I go any further, last night I watched the Facebook Live from Tim Holt, and he was going through the new Distress ink pads that are coming out this year. Now, one of my biggest bugbears about Distress ink is that the standard kind of Distress ink is that they're not permanent. They're water reactive. And I've always said this is the one sticking point with Distress inks that I don't like. Well, this year they're actually combining Distress colours with the archival ink, which is permanent. So there's going to be 12 Distress colours coming out in the archival ink formula, which is oil-based, permanent. And he's picked 12 colours to start off with. Whether or not they do the full 60, I don't know. But if they do, then I'm sorry, but I think my Distress inks, the water reactive ones, are probably going to go in the bin. That's all 60 of those Distress inks, and I will replace the whole lot, no qualms about it. I'll replace all 60 colours with the archival versions because they are permanent. I'm not bothered about water reactivity, because if I want to reactivate any of the archival inks, I can use neat alcohol, either surgical spirits for us in the UK, or rubbing alcohol, or whatever you want to call it wherever you are. Meths here in the UK is the same as rubbing alcohol in the States. It's just got a colorant to it, but you can get rid of that colorant by putting it on the windowsill, and the colour will disappear eventually. So anyway, I digress a little bit. I'm going to crack on, probably combine this one, because I know it's going to be a kind of a long process video, this one, so I probably will combine a little bit of narration, a little bit of live talking, and a bit of fast forward with music like I did in the previous one, which people seem to like, even though that was an accident. Well, not really an accident. The camera didn't pick up the audio for some weird reason. But anyway, enough of my flannel and enough of my waffling. I'm just going to get started on this page, because the sooner that I start it, because yes, I am putting it off, the sooner I start it, the sooner it's going to get finished. So First thing I'm going to do is I've taken a pencil and I've just roughly sketched out a little bit of an idea that I've got that I want to achieve with the purple today, but I want to put a coat down of clear gesso to start off with. So that's what I'm going to do now. So first things first, clear gesso, and I'm going to do a complete coverage and double page spread, because I really want the paint to be able to manoeuvre on this page. So I know this is a bit of a boring process, so let me carry on and I'll join with you once I've got all the gesso down and it's all dry and I'm ready to start actually whacking down some colour. Okay, so I've got the gesso down, it's all dried, so I'm just going to quickly, just using the lilac pen, just kind of sketch out what I want to appear kind of on my page. It's going to be a little bit kind of like a landscape drawing or landscape painting, but done in a different kind of way. So literally that's going to be my my kind of sketch for the painting. That will do it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to grab some paint. I've got my little paint palette. I'm going to start off with the dark colours. So this is indigo blue, and I'm going to start not with a big brush but with a smaller brush. I know this is going to irritate some people, but I don't really care. I'm doing a largish area with a small brush, yes, but that's because I kind of want small brush strokes. I don't want big kind of brush strokes. So you can see how this has got that kind of purpley tint to it. So I'm kind of going around in this kind of style because I don't particularly want any straight brush strokes, but I'm trying to like achieve a ground for it without doing a complete wash. I want the brush strokes to go in a circular motion. It'll all make sense. So I'll crack on, play you some music until I'm happy with the base layer of what I've achieved. That's if I am happy with it. With it being purple, I may just get halfway through and decide to throw the entire thing in the trash. Who knows? It could be one of those days today. Right, I'm just going to stop it there a little bit because I want to bring in one of the other colours now. I'm going to bring in that mulberry bush. I'm not even going to bother cleaning the brush either. I'm just going to take it from the lid because I want to start adding in some more of those colours. So we're getting those different kind of tones out of the paint now. And even though I've used like the clear gesso underneath, there are still some areas where there's still bits showing through, lighter areas showing through, so I kind of want to get those covered. Painterly kind of strokes, if you know what I mean. That's it. It's adding a kind of glaze over the top of that kind of indigo blue colour, which is a bit more purpley, which is cool. So I'm going to try and just mix some of that darker colour there while that's still wet. Grab some of that mulberry from, there we go, and then that kind of does a nice sort of blend between the two colours without being over the top. No harsh lines really, that's what I'm trying to say. There is lines, paintbrush lines, but no harsh lines between the transition from the one colour to the other. Again, if I think it's a little bit too harsh over here, there we go. And then I'm going to bring some of that warmer colour just down here towards the bottom. Okay, let's get the lid back on that for now. Let's see if it can pick up the difference in the colours, so you can see some of those redder tones coming through towards the end out that way there. So I'm liking that. So let's just get that dry. Okay, so that's pretty much dry now. So what I've done on the paint palette here, I've added some white and I've also got some of the blackberry and added that to it because I want to take some of that colour and just mix it with a little bit of the white. And then I'm going to just start adding in some kind of radial brush strokes. Just going to give us a little bit of movement in that sky. A little bit more white. Okay, so while that's drying, or finishing off drying, I want to grab some more of this mulberry, and I'm just going to introduce, it's supposed to be a dry brush, a little bit more of that mulberry colour that we've got here at the edge. It's just down here towards the bottom. Okay, so now I'm going to start building up this section here. So for that, I'm just going to grab some black, a little bit of black, and even though you're probably not going to be able to tell, I'm going to add a little bit of purple to it. Okay, so I've kind of got my land mass put in, I've got my sky, and I've kind of got my pale purple moon. I've put the silhouettes of my lighthouse in there now, so I'm going to bring in some more of that indigo blue dark paint. I've mixed a little bit with water, only a tiny amount, just to start adding in my kind of water reflection, because obviously you can't have a lighthouse without having water. So start building up the layers vertically, sorry, not vertically, horizontally. Kind of base coat down, almost like your ground. I'm obviously having to contend with the crease in the middle of the page as well, so I will carry on adding the paint, building up, and then I can then start adding in some of my other colour tones, the purples, the blackberries and the mulberries in a little while. And then a tiny little bit of black in there as well. Just to kind of give you that impression of reflection. Pick up some mulberry. This is why I wasn't particularly bothered about these white bits, because I knew they'd kind of disappear underneath the brush strokes. Okay, kind of happy with that. Just want to add a few other little bits to it. So I've got a micron pen here, so I just want to add just a little bit of detail on that lighthouse there. You probably can't really see all that well. And then like that. And of course I can't not finish off by adding just a few little splatters up into that sky. So I've got a little bit of white left and I've got my brush, so I'll grab some water . Not going to be white, obviously. And then just as a final finishing touch, just going to take some white again. And then, let's see if we've got just a tiny little bit of sponge. Palest of colours. Yeah, I think that will do for now. Just got to get it all dried off and then I'll be right back. Okay, so page is almost done. So I've brought the Pitt pen Crimson and I'm just going to add some of that just down on that horizon line and just gently blend that in with my finger. Just so we get a bit of a kind of smoother transition. This is where they're coming to their own really, when you can't really do it with the paint without adding too much on. And again, up here, you know, you can add that kind of halo. Probably doesn't need a lot, to be honest. Let's see whether or not we need to add any of this down here. Ooh, managed to get paint everywhere now. How I managed to do that? Got it all in my hands. Right, I'll be right back. Okay, so I think I'm actually going to just hold my hands up now and just say that's it. I'm not going to do any more. Now, traditionally, for the last few pages, I've added on slogans here. So when I looked at the page, I actually didn't want to spoil it by adding anything onto it that's going to break it up. I might do at a later date, but at the minute, I think I'm pretty happy with that page and I don't want to do anything that is actually going to spoil it. So the only thing I am going to do is I'm just going to grab a white Signo pen and I'm just going to sign it over on this corner here. What date is it today, Ian?
It is good afternoon, it is the 17th.
Right, so the 17th of January, there you go, 17/1/19. So I'm just going to sign that and okay. So purple can be peaceful. If this page kind of looks familiar, then you might have seen something similar on Pinterest. The original idea for the layout, the moon with the lighthouse, I saw on Pinterest quite some time ago. Can't find the original image anywhere, but I liked the idea of that radiant kind of moon with the lighthouse. Not something you kind of see very often. So the idea for that kind of purpley page with the lighthouse on there was actually inspired by a Pinterest image. But I've recreated it as a double page spread in the large dilutions, just using purple and black and white. So I hope you have enjoyed watching that one. If you have, give it a thumbs up, share the video with your friends, and if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel already, you can do so by clicking the button at the end of the video. And I'll be back again tomorrow with blue. Blue dabba-dee dabba-doo. I'd like to say a huge thank you to all of my angels, because without you, these videos would not be possible. Thank you.